Hello, my name is Bruce Webb. I'm here to present Lepidext for your consideration. We have a transformative biologic that's targeted to production agriculture. And when I think of something that's transformative, I think of something that's going to change the way that we do things and also have a tremendous impact. And the reason that our technology is transformative is because we work with the biology of the target pest. And the team that we present today has a history of working together and a history of success. The founders of Lepidext, myself and Angelica Fath-Gooden, have a long history of working together. We founded a company called Paratex in 2004. We've commercialized 3 novel patented specialty products, raised $8 million, and achieved sales in over 40 countries. In 2015, we started working on the technology that's the basis of Lepidext. And it was clear from the beginning that this was something that we would need to have strategic partners and assistants to really develop and bring it to its fruition. And this is a target that targets integrated pest management that serves production agriculture. So we built a team for Lepidext, raised $2 million. We've got strategic and technical assistance with Maria Labravo and Mega Calci, and an experienced board with industry and mergers and acquisition experience. The specific opportunity we're talking about today is for a novel biologic that targets integrated pest management and control for production agriculture. Now, most often biologics target smaller specialty crops. Ours is a different kind of technology. And so Lepidext seeks to develop a relationship, a strategic co-development partner and investor to move this technology from field application to manufacturing within 2 years. And we want to have global reach for this technology. The problem that we're solving is one that US farmers are quite familiar with. They lose approximately $2 billion per year in the US to the corn earworm, the cotton bollworm. And this particular pest is one that has a major problem with developing resistance. What we present here is the resistance development to the BT toxins, to the transgenic plants that have been introduced with great success. The first generation toxins are presented in blue, and you can see that within about 10 years, they were having significant resistance. That led to a second generation of toxins, which is presented in green, which is a stacked toxins with 2 traits, and resistance is clearly developing in these pests right now. The third generation has 3 toxins, with the VIP3, the most recent toxin introduced in transgenic plants. And you can see in the purple at the end of the slide that resistance is developing to these toxins as well. So we need a new strategy. The strategy that we're proposing to deploy is something that we call Ensteris HZ. This is an insect sterilizing virus that specifically targets and reduces the corn earworm resistance and provides a new mechanism for control of that pest. This is a non-GMO strain of a hyper-sterilizing virus that occurs naturally in the corn earworm. You can see the effects of this virus on the reproductive tract of the corn earworm in the panel on the right. A normal corn earworm moth will have up to 1,500 eggs, represented by those little balls that you see in the reproductive tract. An Ensteris infected insect has no eggs and is completely sterile. Moreover, the insect is very efficient at transmitting that virus to insects in the field. This technology targets only the corn earworm. We have applied this technology in the field as well as in the lab. It's shown to have insect multi-generational effects on insects, and the virus is transmitted by mating. The transmission is rapid and efficient. We have initiated the process for EPA registration. We have patented this technology in the US and China. It is pending in Brazil and India, and those 4 countries control 90% of the global corn, cotton, and soybean markets. Furthermore, we're working on a next generation product that will allow us to do away with releasing insects in the field with an oral delivery system. We're working towards technology scaling, and this is really where we're looking for strategic help. But we think that we can deploy this technology and have a major impact. We've gone towards translating this problem. It's one thing to have a technology that works in the lab. It's another thing for this technology to work in the field. We've done 2 years of field trials in Tennessee and Kentucky in sweet corn and cotton, and these are on major farms that have collaborated with us. The major point of these trials is that Ensteris is working exactly in the field the way it does in the lab. We have about very efficient transmission. For every sterile moth we release, at least 10 insects become infected in the field. The timeline towards development of this technology is well on track. We're expanding our field trials in the coming years. In the coming year, we're doing pilot production in 2022 with plans to scale production in 2023. The oral delivery system is on track to be deployed in 2024 and 25, and we have first sales and commercial expansion of the technology. There is, of course, a regulatory component to this. The regulatory component is also on track. The regulatory really started when we designed this technology. We designed it as a non-GMO product with the idea that it would have a smooth path to regulatory approval. We held a pre-submission meeting. We have completed the EPA volumes and submitted for registration. We have a waiver decision that we should hear about in the next couple of weeks. There's a technical screen for the technology coming up in the first quarter of 2022. And then from that point, there's a regulatory decision mandated by the EPA in the second quarter of 2023. So all of this is on track. The investment opportunity that we're seeking is for, again, a strategic partner to work with us to commercialize and deploy this technology into an EPA-approved biologic to meet the problem, the urgent problem of Bt resistance in the field. This product is expected to launch in 2023 and scale in 2024. We'll be serving a $12.5 billion market and have a well-defined plan for the use of funds. So we've taken full advantage of the F3 Tech Accelerator and use all of the suite of the services that they offer. In particular, the investment presentation development and the strategic industry consultant have been critical. And we culminated the program with a presentation to FMC Venture Fund where that was quite successful. And we believe that that's going to lead to ongoing discussions. If you have interest in Lepidext and the Ensteris technology, please contact me or my strategic partner, Maria Labreville. Thank you.
Thank you. We'd like to invite Bruce and Maria to be available for questions now.
Yeah, Bruce, this is Brett Schreiber. Can you kind of reiterate what you think your major progress to date has been?
The major progress has been that we validated technology in the lab. We've patented the technology. It's basically a knockout of a viral gene. So we did that knockout by mutation rather than genetic engineering. So we filed for patents and received patents. We have identified partners to test this in the field. And we've also validated.
The partners to test in the field, those were the farms that were listed on one screen?
Yeah, we went through an Ag Launch Accelerator. And so it's been supported in part by the Tennessee Department of Agriculture, and that would be Scott Pullen and Josh Ogle were the farms that we worked on.
And farms are your major potential client, right? You just sell this to farmers, right?
We're going to need distribution channels. And that's basically why we're looking for a strategic partner.
This is Tony. So then you would would you license it or you manufacture? I mean, I guess it's a different process entirely, right? Because
Yeah.
you're you're basically changing the makeup of the moth itself. Is that right?
That's exactly right. So the moth acquires a virus infection that sterilizes it, and the virus is transmitted when the moth mates. And so the point is that you can target populations where resistance is developing and knock down those populations specifically.
So do you need to breed the moths themselves to release them, or how do you do that?
Yeah, we breed the moths.
This is Ewing McDowell from Commerce. What's the time of release of your moths and what's the mode of release? And do you see other applications in this technology?
So the mode of release, we're limited to doing small acreage trials right now. So the mode of release is basically to open a box where the moths are in and they fly and they auto disperse. With a single release point, we're able to see virus transmission to an area that's between 75 and 150 acres. So the moths auto disseminate.
So how many, is that one moth for 75 acres?
The dose rate that we use for our trials is 10 moths per acre.
And what's the timing of that release?
You need to time it when the eggs are being laid. So the insects lay eggs when the crops are in flower. And so you can monitor insect populations with pheromone traps. And so from the time of release, the insects that we release will live for about 7 or 8 days. We see virus transmission from a single release up to 30 days after release. We also see incidents of infection in the field above 50%.
So one of the other judges asked, is this way of doing things applicable to any other problems out in the fields? Or is this specifically targeted at what we're talking about, which I think was largely soy and corn, which are huge crops, obviously.
So the insect that we target is the corn earworm, which feeds on something like 100 crops.
Okay.
Within the group, the virus that we're working on is the only one that is known to science, but it's not been studied. So we are confident that there are other viruses like this in major crop pests, such as the fall armyworm.
Right. So what does successful revenue look like for you guys well, I don't know how many years out we're looking, maybe 5 years out. What does revenue might look like for the company?
I'll let Maria answer that question.
I wanted to clarify one thing. You mentioned if this was a technology, or this was a solution for just one problem. Yes, the virus or the technology is species specific, but it just happens to be the species or the insect that it's breaking through current technologies, the BT technologies. There are a few others that are doing that, but corn earworm in particular in the South in cotton and corn, it's doing a lot of damage.
Okay.
So in terms of 5-year revenue, we believe that we would have the capacity to scale up to 100,000 acres treated in about 3 to 4 years. And that is about the extent that our startup can scale up. Beyond 100,000, we would need a major partner to do that.
Great, I think they were a good set of questions. Thank you, judges, as well as Bruce and Maria. Please stay tuned to the F3 Tech website, as well as our social media for more information, as well as to provide any feedback you may have. And we thank you again today. Thank you to all of the companies that presented. and for the judges and attendees.